Ahead of its intended release on July 9th, Capcom has released a demo of Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. However, despite the claims of working on the issues with the previous game, which did not sell well during its release, new ones have cropped up and the game has performance issues ahead of release. Even as someone who isn't a big fan of the series, I'm going to be detailing my experiences and going over what's working and what is since in this open message asking Capcom to potentially delay the game. Even with how much Capcom was promoting this one, and I was initially reluctant to do it, I did eventually decide to try the demo earlier this month, and when it went live on the 25th, and it wasn't exactly a what I was hoping for. Or I also want to make clear that I have not played the first game, but thankfully each installment has been its own self-contained narrative. I mean, heck, you're talking to someone who played Zelda 2 for the first one when they were younger, so therefore anything I had to say about this game is going to likely be self-contained, though I will try to find other ones to compare it to when I can, both in the same genre as well as other Monster Hunter titles I've played, because it's clearly something different from Rise World. In fact, every other Monster Hunter game that's been released so far, or or so. And even though the developers say that they've corrected some of the issues from the first game, I think in many ways they might have overcorrected it a bit. Before I get too into that, I will go over briefly some of the pluses, where like the avatar customization and is actually quite decent. I was able to name my avatar Pit as well as make him kind of look and sound like that, given how there's still not much about another Kid Icarus title, or not even like an enhanced Switch version of Uprising. I mean, maybe another time, but not now. The music is definitely good, and also I turned on the Japanese voice acting, which is also good. And this is definitely going to be before we get into the other issues, those that are basically making this request to potentially delay the game. Yeah. Now, here are the issues I experienced. I think I've established how cringeworthy the English dub and also the partner's hints actually seem kind of intrusive. Which is a recurring complaint I've noticed from the Western families a lot. Once I found also, like, I still think that the Monstie nicknames kind of obnoxious. But there are other issues beyond this. Like the dungeons you go through are actually quite linear here, and like a lot of the gameplay decisions in the story spin-offs are largely antithetical to the core concept Monster Hunter. Which focuses a lot more on exploration and and same deal like with the gameplay, where and the other ones it's more in real time combat, and also for a challenge, to a point where a lot of people who have viewed the game have both ironically and not said they actually play some Soulsborne titles to go for something a bit less challenging after trying to take down some of the larger or more difficult monsters. There's and another problem is like the frame rate is I know I was hoping that it would be smoothed out a bit from some of the ads, but nope. Lot. I mean, I and others have noticed that this frame rate is incredibly choppy. It keeps. Sometimes it can reach as high as like 45 frames per second, and sometimes it goes down to as low as 10 FPS, not lower. Or why they couldn't keep things constant like 30 frames per second, which is like other RPGs I haven't played, I do not know. I mean, given how Rise was able to maintain that steadily, he, a, as was World, which definitely has also potential to have more. And heck, even other installments that were released earlier that I have not played it, like 3, 4 generations and Double Cross. Oh, man. Oh, that's one more stable than this, man. Heck, even footage I saw of the first game, AIM, which also has a mobile port I haven't played, it was, even though it was based on less powerful hardware, it was more stable. So, as I mentioned, in like the Legends Arceus video, oh, I did. I mean, I mean, I think the whole now when I'm hearing about the 2022 is makes sense, and given how again, and that Washington Post interview with Bowser, basically more or less the two ones didn't read was basically he was saying like I'd like to tell you about the next console, but I can't. Hmm. Then we have the gameplay, hey, where it's it's okay, so it's turn-based combat, they real-time combat are the main games where you have so red attacks represent and strength, blue attacks represent speed, and green attacks represent technical. So, and even though you have things like some of the weapons as well for like, well, this in itself is not a bad thing given how other RPGs most of us will uses like for when they shoot physical attacks, special ones, or heal. However, like I keep saying, and I think they may have overcorrected a bit from the previous game, which had a similar issue of being too easy for existing fans of Monster Hunter, as also at the same time too daunting for fans of other RPGs where for younger fans and new ones. So I mean, which is a problem PS Game faced, and he's me admittedly and it's definitely he still an issue here since because they really went all in last time with having being anime and everything, trying to horn in a manga that's been and kind of cornered by other series for a while now. How and even people thought like the amiibo they released for the previous game would be big sellers, but that didn't really happen. The place they shop that stocked them at the time, they weren't quite as much shelf warmers as the Animal Crossing ones were, but I don't think they were attracting things like in the things like they were with the Smash ones, let alone and other stuff like with Zelda and now Metroid as well. Also, and they're trying that again here, but let's wait. As I mentioned before, I'm thinking my money and resource mostly going to focus on other ones instead of like fight after like Incineroar, Snake, and now the Loftwing, and heck, I'm still after Ridley personally, but that's beside the point. since it's clearly he has its own issues as well. I mean, as well as exacerbating ones in the previous game. And with that in mind, and so it's clear that even though with updates, it's being planned already for this title as well as more content being planned for Rise, given how version 3.1 of that game just came out, I believe. Have the target audience is still uncertain despite the changes they made, and the technical problems I encountered could be too much for updates to solve alone. I mean, it was chugging. I mean, so much in some instances that before I even decided to make this video, it would basically render one encounter effectively unplayable. I mean, it was that bad. I mean, it's not even something I can enter my console either because I always make sure that both the games I play as well as the firmware, the system itself, are up to date. And even with the problem with having trouble installing other games, which I usually was resolved by canceling the installation, then reattempting it. It's for games I've not played in a while, but that this was I actually played this after the other updates. It helped close that error message that people could experiencing, and so and that's basically what I'm proposing here in this open message. It's to Capcom, and if you people are still, some people want to still find them playing this when it comes out. I'm not gonna hold it against them. Um, I personally don't plan on doing that since, and also there's another concern, and that's definitely also worth noting. And the fact that it's going to be competing against other games coming out in July, as well as ones that are already out now. Least of all the it's coming a week before the Skyward Sword Remaster, and though that game may not be everyone's favorite 3D Zelda title at all, it still has enough fans like more that have been wanting to play it again for a long time. And 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 definitely, yeah, I submit, and also, oh, it's clear that even though other similar titles are not coming out till later in the year, here that's basically what I'm my launch proposal. Like the two alternate ones is simple. Capcom, please delay Monster Hunter Stories 2. Thank you.